Jeff Lloyd, host of Locked On Browns. Your boy Q, host of Locked On Raiders. Crossover Thursday. We appreciate everybody who makes both shows your first listen every day. Become an everyday or subscribe to Locked On Browns and Locked On Raiders YouTube pages. The shows are always available, always free wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to check out Locked On NFL. Tyler Rowand is always crazy, and the Titans are always 0-3. So sometimes I just mute it because I want to see his reactions. So imagine Tyler on the rest of the NFL. As his team is 0-3. Tony Wiggins, they don't come any better. So Tony Wiggins in the afternoon giving you his best reflection on the current NFL stories. Q, biggest path, biggest key to victory. What do you need to see from the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday?
Well, offensively, I need to see some rhythm. I really do. Like just finding any kind of rhythm. You know the drunk person at the wedding and the wedding rehearsal, and they're just dancing and they're feeling good about themselves. And hats off to them because they're having a good time, but they're totally off rhythm. They totally look like they're out of place. They look like they're fighting whoever they're dancing with. That's what the Raiders look like offensively right now. They look like the drunk guy at the wedding or the drunk girl at the wedding that has no rhythm because they're
same dance, regardless of what the song is.
Right, exactly. They have no rhythm whatsoever. So they've got to find it, right? And normally I would say you've got to establish the run. You've got to open things up. But I don't care how they find their rhythm. I don't care if they've got to pass the ball 10 times to open up the game and eventually loosen things up and maybe the run game could get going. We know that something has to be sprinkled in when it comes to the run game, but just find a way to get the ball to the playmakers, right? Find a way to get Devontae heavily involved. Brock Bowers heavily involved. Jacoby Myers heavily involved. Michael Mayer. I mean, they've got it's so frustrating because they've got the weapons and they just can't use them, right? It's almost like having that expensive car in the garage and like mom and dad's like, nope, you can't drive that till you get a license. It's like, wait, hold on. But it's right here. It's mine. Like it's so wild, man, that they just can't get it out there on the highway and let it rip. And I don't understand what it's going to take, but that's what it's going to take to win a game. They're going to have to get on a rhythm offensively, be able to sustain some drives. Like I said, get the run game going eventually. However you find a way to do it, I don't care. But the offense has got to look at something. We got to be able to look at it on Sunday, Jeff, and say, oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that offense has something there. Okay, there's a rhyme and reason to why Luke Getsy's calling this play. There's a rhyme and reason why they did this in the first quarter. They're setting up the fourth quarter. There's got to be something I can identify and say, okay, that makes sense. They had a sequence on Sunday against the Panthers where they got the ball at the 40 because of a terrible kickoff by Carolina. Then they have the very first play. They hit Devontae for 15 yards. They're already in Carolina's territory at the 45-yard line. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. And then it's like 4th and 4, and they go for it, turnover on downs. Like, none of that made sense. You're already in plus territory, and you can't take advantage of it. Like, it makes sense. Makes sense. That's what they have to do. That's why I said that offense has to have a rhythm. Defensively, one, they've got to be able to get some pressure on Deshaun Watson, right? They let Andy Dalton have his way with them last week.
Rocket.
Yeah, and that surprised the mess out of me because, look, they did a really good job against Lamar Jackson for the most part. And then Andy Dalton, who's not going to run around the yard at all, who's not a threat like that, just sat back in the pocket, threw the ball around the yard, made some really nice passes. I got to give him credit for that, and just carved the Raiders defense up because they didn't get that much pressure on him. So they've got to find a way to get pressure on Deshaun Watson, make him uncomfortable. The offensive line, obviously, in Cleveland is not where it needs to be, and they've been giving up sacks, so take advantage. I don't care if it's Max Crosby or whoever. They've got to take advantage of that and get some pressure on the quarterback. And the final thing I'll say they need to do is create a couple turnovers. They got to get a couple turnovers, win the turnover battle. Every game so far this season, Gardner Minshew's thrown an interception. He's got to win the turnover battle. They can't do that, but they've got to be able to create a couple turnovers, whether it's a strip sack, an interception, a muff punt. I don't care. Again, I'm not begging. I'm not begging for a certain category, right? I'm not particular. Just create a couple turnovers, and you'll be in a really good position and protect home field in a crowd that's going to be probably a majority Browns fans. To be honest, I mean, I know how Cleveland Browns fans travel. I know a large contingency that's coming, and Allegiant Stadium is one that's housed a lot of opposing fans. So. They're going to have to handle their business and try to quiet the crowd by their play on the field. But those are the three keys, man. Rhythm on offense, pressure on defense, and create a couple turnovers, and they'll give themselves a chance to win the game. That doesn't guarantee they're going to win. It means they'll give themselves a chance. But on the flip side, for Cleveland to have an opportunity to go into Allegiant and pick up the victory and improve to 2-2, what has to happen in your eyes?
Well, no, look, and you talk about running the ball. Look, the Browns' most successful running play to this point was in Jacksonville, where everybody in the stadium thought Jameis Winston was going to sneak it on 4th and inches. No, they just ran a power with Jerome Ford. Jacksonville wasn't ready for it. It wasn't a great play. Jacksonville just got duped. So they have to, and this has always been a staple of the Stefanski offense. And even when the Stefanski offense has been so good, there's so many things that come off the play action and the boot game and the rollouts, because you want to know what? Everybody knows that run play is going to get 6-7 yards. So you're bringing people up, you're walking them up, and guess what? You back out of it, you roll out. There's a tight end wide open in the flats. They're not really getting anything from any tight end play right now. Tight ends have been huge through the Kevin Stefanski regime. Yes, I understand David Njoku is out. I screamed all year. You don't have enough because you only have David Njoku. God forbid, what would be the plan if you didn't have David Njoku? Turns out I was right. They had no plan after David Njoku. They've got to get balance within the wide receivers. Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, both very good players, but it's all got to work in sync. Defensively, you just have to take away some of the big shots. It almost hurt him in Jacksonville. It certainly gave him some issues against the Cowboys. It certainly hurt him last week against the Giants. You can't get uber aggressive and just think you're going to get to the quarterback every single play. And right now they're lacking a little bit. Last year they got more pressure traditionally without having to bring extra guys. Just because you're not getting the pressure doesn't mean you necessarily have to bring more people, because that means there's less people to then cover, which has been a little bit of an issue to this point. Cover better, run the ball better, and just get better sync. Deshaun keeps talking about it, and let's see. Because otherwise, at 1-3 for a team that was supposedly supposed to have real aspirations to win the AFC North, there's going to be a lot of questions and possibly some changes. And then all of a sudden, now emotions get involved, and we all know the way that works within the NFL. Either way, looking forward to a great one. Raiders certainly hosting the Cleveland Browns. And you're right. Look, I can just tell from social media, there are a lot of Browns fans.
Oh, yeah.
It's number one, it's, hey, I've never been to Vegas. Oh, we can see the Browns while we're in Vegas.
Yeah.
So you find a way to appease both parties, probably. And maybe somebody doesn't want to go to the game of the relationship, but hey, we're going to Vegas anyway, so they're certainly going to go for the trip.